Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial and Midnight. My name is Heath.
And I'm Bree.
And this is our review of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And this will be both a spoiler and a non-spoiler video. We're going to start with non-spoilers, give you our general impressions, and then we will let you know in plenty of time before we get into spoilers so you can make your way to the exit if you so wish. But I will say right off the bat, we've just come in from the theater. We've only just arrived.
That's right.
And I liked it. That's where I'm at. I liked it. What about you?
The same.
Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't love it and I didn't hate it, but I liked it.
And there are going to be so many hot takes on YouTube where it's like there's going to be so many people making the screaming face. We're not going to do that in this video. We're going to have like honest, open-hearted conversation about this movie. It's going to take, honestly, there's so much in this movie. There's
jam-packed full of stuff.
Jam-packed full of stuff that it's going to take a while to really unpack some of this stuff and to really live with it and digest it.
It's
frankly,
hard for me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
no, it's okay.
Just because I knew after we watched the movie, like I was thinking about it during the movie. I'm like, we're gonna have a conversation about this. You're gonna ask me, did I like it? And not that I didn't like it, I did. But
he always asks if I liked it.
God,
what a jerk!
I know.
Up in my business.
I know. Always asking questions.
Go ahead.
No, but I was thinking like I don't really know how to answer that yet because there's so many things that I just need to. It's
complicated, right?
I need to think about it for a while, and then I can get back to you.
This movie is so jam-packed full of plot. And it's not just jam-packed full of action. It's jam-packed full of plot. That, frankly, would have been nice if some of this plot had been spread out over the 3 movies that we have. But it feels kind of like... So, the elephant in the room is that this movie does feel like a reaction to the negative feedback from The Last Jedi. But not overtly an apology of it, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
I've seen some people say that, even a review, like a well-respected film critic is like, it's an apology for The Last Jedi. I'm like, I don't get that.
I don't really see that from
There's a couple of lines that I think take kind of a wink at The Last Jedi, but I don't feel like it's an apology. In fact, it uses a lot of The Last Jedi plot and some of the devices in this movie. So I don't know that I would go that far. But it does feel like a reaction. It feels like if you guys are so upset about this, we'll give you this. And then they just put so much in here. And I'm seeing the term fan service used a lot to describe this movie. And I think that fan service can be a negative thing, and it can be viewed as a positive thing. Yeah. I would say, given how this trilogy started, and with Disney at the helm, maybe some fan service is good, because it kind of seems like they were shutting fans out for some of this stuff. But at the same time, we just came in from this movie. Maybe they went a little overboard with some of the fan service, because there's a lot of stuff in here. What do you think?
There is a lot of stuff in there. I don't know.
Maybe too much?
It's hard to say, because it all is dependent on someone's personal perspective of their
true.
Expectation. How much fan service do they want or not want in the movie?
As we were leaving the theater, the guy in front of us seemed to hate the movie. Oh yeah, he hated it. And then you said there was a person in the bathroom when
That's what Mini Midnight said.
Mini Midnight said that there was someone in the bathroom that really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So. This is where we're at. So many, listen, it's opinion. It's subjective. One person will connect with something in one way. One person will not connect with something. I don't think there's a right or wrong in this. I think that the truth is probably going to be somewhere in the middle, maybe,
really
or just your own subjective taste.
Yeah, well, and each person's relationship with Star Wars is different as well.
Yeah.
What they like or don't like. Like, I like the original trilogy and I hate the prequel. And then other people are like, I love the prequels.
Because it's worth noting that we are at a place in Star Wars fandom where it's a very divided fandom. It's been around long enough that you can say, I like this area of Star Wars. Did I say Star Trek?
No, you said Star Wars.
So I
think you tried to say
I was thinking Star Trek because I was thinking like original trilogy, and then there's the next generation.
Yeah.
There's these different iterations, and some people like this, but they don't like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're not a fan.
Has very strong opinions too.
Yeah, but there's just a lot of gatekeeping. It doesn't mean you're not a fan if you don't like this. So I do notice that there are people that prefer the original trilogy. There are people that prefer the prequels. There are people that are like Mini Midnight's age that prefer these sequel movies. These are their characters. So I don't know. There's a lot here. I will say, as an original trilogy kid, we've spent several hours now talking about the voices from Star Wars fandom here on the channel. We will continue to do so and unpack this movie moving forward. This is not a one video unpack. This is going to take a long time. But being an original trilogy kid, there were a lot of things in this movie that felt good to me. It just felt like childhood Star Wars in a way that I haven't really felt during most of what Disney's done. I've enjoyed some of what Disney's done, but I haven't had that, I'm going to call it old school Lucasfilm magic. There's a lot of old school, like Star Wars was rooted in the what's the term? Serials.
Yes.
George Lucas, Flash Gordon, the Western serials, the adventure serials, jungle serials. He was pulling from these serials of the 40s and the 50s and the 30s as well. And I haven't seen a lot of that in the Disney stuff, but I do see a lot of it in this movie. Do you see that too?
Yeah, I do.
Poe Dameron, without spoiling anything, he's kind of an Indiana Jones character in this movie.
He is.
He's khakis. He's dressed in like a khaki outfit. Yeah. It feels very serial, and it was nice. I don't think we've really had that so far, so that was nice to have. Do you have it? Is there? We gotta talk about spoilers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't feel like there's much else to say. I don't want to spoil anything for people who don't want spoilers.
We like it. If you want, like, I don't think either one of us know if we love it yet. I don't hate it for sure. I definitely don't.
If you're a Star Wars fan, you definitely need to go see it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If for no other reason, so that you can make the decision for yourself.
Absolutely. Don't take someone's opinion on YouTube as a fact. Go explore it for yourself. Always check out things for yourself and make up your own mind. So with that being said, we're going to venture into spoiler territory. If we leave you here, thank you for watching this video. We do appreciate you. On that note, spoilers. Palpatine. The whole Palpatine thing. What a can of worms that is. And they don't really even try to... It's hinted that there's some clone stuff going on, but then... there's a whole lot of things in this movie that I'm just like, that doesn't really make sense if there's no seeds planted for that whatsoever. And that's why I say it does feel many times like just a reaction. We were talking a little bit about this in the car on the way home, and we equated it to the way that Doctor Who, New Who, will write itself into corners and then try to write itself out of corners. Usually without having the answer to you write yourself into a corner, you don't have the answer for where you're going. And I think that Star Wars did. In fact, we know for a fact that these Star Wars movies were in development. Rian Johnson was writing his installment without having seen J.J. Abrams' movie. It wasn't even out yet. They hadn't finished it yet. So there was not a lot of intercommunication, a lot of game plan ahead of time.
And I think of it backwards design. Starting like, where do we want to end this? Okay, now let's
and then you work backwards.
How do we get there?
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like it.
That's that J.J. Abrams mystery box. He's so famous for saying he likes to approach things from a mystery box perspective. You write characters that have a lot of mystery to them, situations that have a lot of mystery to them. And I think maybe this might be a little bit cynical of me, but I've seen a lot of the way he tries to wrap things up, and he rarely does it satisfactorily.
Yes.
I think we could look at satisfactorily. I was a fan of Alias. He's a great idea guy, but the closure on these things is sometimes not up to, oftentimes it's not up to snuff. Lost for me. For me, again, there's that opinion like that's for me. It's my objective, my subjective opinion. But like, I was disappointed with the way Alias ended. I was disappointed with the way that Lost. But Lost would have been more tolerable if they hadn't denied the ending for the entire. Like, people would be like, I think it's this. They'd be like, no, and then that's what it was. So it does feel like they were like, well, we'll do this, and then we'll do this, and you guys like this, so we'll do this. It feels very... It's the fan service. There's the fan service again.
Well, I will say I liked that they had like all of our main characters, I mean, for the most part, together on this adventure. They weren't splitting up.
Exactly, yeah. And you know what? They had great dynamic.
Yeah.
They had great intercommunications, with, like the way they played off of everybody, like the competitive nature between Finn and Poe.
Yeah.
And then... even BB-8 has Dio in this, and that's kind of like they're buddies. It's the R2 thing kind of again. Not enough, like basically no R2 and 3PO in this movie, which is a shame. Well, that's a missed opportunity.
Like minimal C3PO.
3P.
Yeah, like, wait, I can't get that out. Minimal C3PO.
Yeah.
And like just like the tiniest amount of R2-D2.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the case for all three of these movies. The droids, George Lucas always said that he saw the Star Wars story as being told through the eyes of the droids, and that did not carry over to the sequel trilogy.
No.
But
you like BB-8.
I like BB-8 too. It's also unfortunate to me that, again, like if we could have had some of this spread out over 3 movies, think about what could have been accomplished if we had these characters on screen together for 3 movies. And then they go and they do their things, and then they come back together, and then they go do their things. But they've really only come together here in the 3rd act.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. There's a lot of missed opportunities in this movie. Or with the whole trilogy. But there's also a lot of cool things. And I gotta say, well, you know what? I'll go with a little bit more, not negative, but things that I'm not wild about.
Okay.
Mark Hamill, not utilized enough.
Yeah, never is.
Never is. He was underserved in this movie.
Great.
The way they dealt with Carrie Fisher.
Just generally himself. Not
Absolutely. Corvette Summer. One of the best movies of the 70s. I'm a big fan of Corvette Summer. The way they dealt with Carrie Fisher, I think, was out of necessity to use deleted scenes from, The Force Awakens and the stuff they had on the cutting room floor. But it does feel very much like cut in and then written around. It doesn't feel organic at all. It feels like what it is. Necessity, I suppose. It's hard to complain about necessity, because I'd rather that than have a CGI or a recast. Could you imagine a recast later?
No. Or she just wasn't in it at all.
Yeah, I'll take this. This is the best scenario for that, given what we've had. But the characters' journeys, I love. Knowing the thing about Rey, which I know we're in spoilers, but I don't even really want to spoil that for people that haven't seen this yet. They do give Rey a story. I don't know if the origin of where they have her coming from really works. There's no...
kind of confusing. It's like... there's nothing set up to indicate that
exactly.
That would happen.
It's just out of the wild blue yonder. But in doing so, they do give us a mirror of Luke's journey with his own family demons, the redemption, the refusal of darkness. That was a nice mirror. Mark Hamill does get a cool mirror of... we're spoilers. So when he levitates his X-wing out of the, I cried in the theater, because it was just a callback to that moment in Empire Strikes Back, and then all these years later to see the Master now teaching. He's not teaching, but he's just showing. It was just a nice callback, and there's so many things in this movie that just feel
that up in a nice little bow for him.
I think there are people are going to say I'm predicting criticisms that I'm going to see. Those angry YouTubers with the red faces talking about how, there's going to be comments like it's just the Return of the Jedi repackaged. I would suggest looking into ring theory and how these movies are echoes and they are bookends that work within. Episode 1 is mirrored in Episode 4, is mirrored in Episode 7. And on down the line, there are mirrors, and that was by design through George Lucas. And I really do think that has been observed, maybe taught, maybe requested, because I see the mirror in a lot of this stuff. And it's not copies; it's reflections, it's ripples. And I was impressed by that too. Like the big space battles. It's another Death Star, but it works for me. Getting to revisit some of these things and have the closure. It works. With the space battle. It's a really cool space battle. Lando, they didn't kill Lando. Thank goodness. Thank the maker. They did not kill Lando.
And I would say too, going back to what did you call it, the circle?
The ring theory?
The ring theory, that's right. And I know what it is. I just can't remember the name of it.
Mike Klimo, Klimo, is the inventor of the discoverer of ring theory, and I've had some communication with him on social media. He's a great guy. He's very passionate about this stuff. So check it out, ring theory. There's a whole website about it.
Right. Well, and so thinking about things being like circular, cyclical, I mean, that's just life anyway. I mean, I feel like we see that through the storytelling too, that, generations later are impacted by the decisions of generations before.
Yes.
I mean, we just see that in our lives and in society all the time. Like, things can continue to happen unless you break that cycle. So and can the cycle be broken? Which is kind of one of the things that these movies explore. Yeah. One of the things people complained about with The Last Jedi is like, well, it's just the same struggle all over again. And I think we are old enough to now see that is life. Yeah. You live long enough.
you do see the struggles of the past pop up over and over again. I feel like it used to be further apart. They're getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah, I mean, they might manifest in different ways, but it's still the same struggle.
The same fights, generational. Every generation has to deal with them in their own way.
Yeah.
And I think these movies are trying to address that in a fun movie way.
Yeah.
I love the ending, the actual end, the last frames of the movie.
Me too.
I love that.
Because are we going to say what it is? We're in spoilers.
We're in spoilers. We'll say it.
That's one of my favorite scenes.
We end
Luke
where
on
we begin.
Tatooine. Wow. With the two suns. It's one of my favorite.
And that scene is in episode 4, and then it pops up again in Revenge of the Sith. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, that is the farewell of the prequel trilogy, is looking out at the twin suns of Tatooine with the promise of what's to come.
Right.
And we end...
This one, don't cry.
Oh, geez. We end episode 9 on Tatooine looking at the twin suns with the promise of what could come. With hope.
That's right.
It's beautiful. That's a beautiful...
It is.
It's a really beautiful way to tie this up. And I know we will get more Star Wars movies, but... It worked, man. It was magical.
Yeah.
There's a scene where we get to hear the voices of a lot of the Jedi. Now, I wish we'd seen them, but we hear Mace Windu, Samuel L. Jackson, we hear Ewan McGregor, we hear Hayden Christensen. I wish we could. Again, I wish we could have seen them. Maybe but I don't know. Disney seems really.
We got to hear them.
Disney seems really afraid of the prequels, but I don't know.
Prequels get a lot of hate.
They really do, and we do not hate the prequels. I know
them.
some people do. We don't hate them. I don't know.
Hateful comments below because we like
that. Again, like what you like, and if you don't like what some, these are opinions.
There's no reason.
They're not right, and they're not wrong. If whatever works for you is your truth, and you can't take that away from somebody. Whatever.
Seriously.
Listen, chase your happiness. Whatever makes you happy, you should indulge that, build it up. Don't try to take happiness from other people.
That's right.
I don't know what else there is to say. I think we've pretty much covered it. There's so much more we could talk about, but that's really
the redemption of Kylo Ren.
The redemption of Kylo Ren, I thought, was handled really well.
Yeah, me too.
That was your theory. I've reserved your theory, but your theory was that Kylo was going to be the hero.
Kylo was going to be the one who rose. He would be the hero. Yeah.
And in a way, he was. In a way, he was. Also, calling back the repeating the cycle of Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi by turning against the evil, and in his last act finding redemption. I'm gonna go again, man.
It's true.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think that's a good place to leave it. What about you?
I think so too.
So I liked it a lot. Again, there's things to not like. It at the end of the day, this will always be a rush job by Disney, and it's unfortunate that they didn't just take their time and plan things out and let it flow organically. Write one, work out a story. Write one organically. Write another one. They didn't. But they didn't do that. And I think that the lesson has been learned now, as we see from The Mandalorian. They've listened to the fans. I think they're figuring things out. But a casualty of that is going to be when you go back and watch these movies. 7, 8, 9. It's an uneven experience.
Yeah. Especially if you sit to watch them like back to back or something.
Yeah, if
or
you
people do like,
these,
that would be.
It's like fun action movie and then divisive, maybe a little angry, stuff, and then just like exposition, and it doesn't really. It's just. But you know what? It is what it is. We cannot change that. Again, I will quote Patrick Bromley of fthismovie.net. You have to judge. You can see the movie once for the movie you thought it was going to be, but after that, you need to acknowledge the movie that it is.
Right.
And go.
Watch it again for the movie it is.
Yes.
Like, I feel like we live by that now.
We do. You have to let go of your expectations because they don't mean anything when all is said and done. All that is left is how do you deal with what you have in front of you.
Yep.
And I'm eager to revisit this. I actually don't know that I'm going to go see this in the theater again.
No, I don't think so.
It's such a it's long and
it is.
It's just an emotionally packed experience.
Yeah.
But when it does come out on home media, we'll be watching it a lot.
Sure.
Hopefully, the story behind the scenes can start to be told now that, and it'll be years before the whole story is told. But maybe they can start kind of letting us know where the gestation for some of this stuff is. And I think, I don't know that we'll see Rey again. I think we probably will. But I think that down the line, when this is cooled off a little bit, we will get a 10, 11, and 12. I think that is coming later. Not anytime soon. 4, 5, 6 years from now. I think that's down the line. They planted the seeds perfectly for it. the saga will never end. It would just continue to echo.
But if they go with the seeds they planted, it wouldn't be a Skywalker saga.
Well, one of the things that they did in this movie that I liked is, like, we've had our Skywalker saga. Now she has taken the name of Skywalker, but we've made a break from Anakin and I don't know. And I thought it worked. The shots, I always wanted, for all of these movies since The Force Awakens, I wanted Han, Luke, and Leia in the same scene, and we got 2 out of 3. And it's a shame that one of them is CGI. Like, it's a composite. It's not. It's not actually Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher standing together, but the image through movie magic, they did give it to us, and I thought it was beautiful. And that's another one of the things I was just like, oh, because I miss Carrie so bad. All right, so we like it.
Yep.
And we recommend it. I absolutely think if you're remotely a Star Wars fan, you have to go see this. Hopefully, listen, just a little advice. There's going to be a lot of anger on the internet. There's going to be a lot of vitriol and negativity. If there's anything in this movie that you've seen that makes you happy, or anything about Star Wars that makes you happy, hold on to it, and don't let other people take that away from you.
Yeah. Don't let other people take your joy.
Yeah.
And guys, don't take other people's joy.
That's right. Guys, thank you very much. Take care. We do appreciate you. We would love to continue the conversation in the comments below. So weigh in, make your voice heard, but be nice. So guys, thank you. Take care. Until next time, we will catch
you later.